Q&A as we walk and enjoy the beautiful spring day on this beautiful river walk. So if you have any questions, just pop them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to walk and we're going to talk and we're going to have a beautiful time together. Let's go.
You can see swan boats already.
Oh yeah, the swan boats are out. So we are in Daegu, which is the eastern district of Daegu, and this is the East River, Tongcheon. And this is what used to be a pretty, like the main resort area for Daegu 4 or 5 decades ago. Since then, Susong has taken over for that, but this is still a pretty popular area. And the river is actually a real river instead of an artificial pond or lake that Susong is. And you can rent these fun duck boats and go out. Ooh, there's some dragon boats too. Look at that. See, I plan on it.
Should we take him out in one? Oh, if you were here live, you could have said, take us out in one. But you're not.
Yep, that's true. We could have, if
we could have pulled our Weight Watchers.
So yeah, these are paddle boats, and the thing we learned about this when we took one out last year is that they are designed for much shorter people than modern people, and so my knees were at my chin trying to paddle. It was not the most comfortable experience, but still worth it. So Korea has been taking great strides to beautify its river areas and its public spaces to provide green spaces for everyone, and this is part of that. And I will tell you that this is probably the best kept secret in Asia. This area in cherry blossom season is stunning because all of these trees that you see here, 80% of them are cherry trees, and especially across the river. So this whole riverside turns this gorgeous shade of pale pink, of delicate pink in cherry blossom season, which we have unfortunately missed by a week. Yeah.
Or 2 at most.
Yeah. Yeah, so as you have questions, just pop them in the live feed and I will answer them.
There's nobody there right now.
I know, there's nobody there right now. It's okay.
No, we've got 4 people suddenly.
Ooh.
We got 4 people.
Welcome to the live stream, everyone. If you have questions about traveling in Korea, just let me know. We are here in Daegu, eastern Daegu, enjoying this stunning spring weather for as long as we can until summer turns brutal and evil.
Oh my God, like their little cars. Yep, we're up to 8 people. Hi, I cannot read the name, but I think it's Ty, maybe? I don't know. I'm not good with that script.
Nope, that is Thai. I can't read it either, but hello. Thank you for joining the live stream.
We love Korea as well. Said I love Korea.
It is a gorgeous country and it's so much beauty. It's so safe. We love the food, we love the culture, we love the history. We've been watching Korea redevelop over the last 10 years, going on 11 now. And the change, the transformation has been really quite remarkable. Maybe give a view of the other side.
Oh, you're up to 12. Hello, everybody.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is a live Korea Q&A. So if you have questions about traveling to, around, or from Korea, what to eat, what to see, what to do, let me know. So I will tell you that one big tip for Korea is that it is super walkable, as you can see by the fact that we are walking. It has been redeveloped to be very friendly to pedestrians, to bicyclists. Public transit is extensive, inexpensive, and pretty efficient, so you don't need to have a car to come and travel here. Don't even bother renting a car.
Hello, Hawks.
Hello, Hawks. Thank you for joining us. One thing you should get when if you come here to visit is a T-Money card. And this is basically a sort of special debit card for public transit and some other things as well, like vending machines. You load money onto it outside of Seoul. Basically, you can go to any convenience store and reload it with cash only, no credit cards. And in Seoul, there's actually T-money loading machines, and also in the subways. But only in Seoul can you put money on your T-money card in the subways. Everywhere else, you have to do it from a convenience store like GS25, 7-Eleven, CU. But you just swipe in and swipe out on buses and metros, and you can even use them in taxis. But I'd really recommend using your credit card where you can, especially if you have a points earning credit card. Korea is very much a credit card country. The only places where cash is going to be the predominant form of currency are small shops where the owners are trying to dodge paying taxes, or they're so small that they don't even have card readers. So carry some cash, but you really won't need a lot to travel around Korea.
How are you today?
Was that a comment?
That's a question.
Oh, I am doing very well, thank you. Here, let them actually see me. I'm doing very well, thank you. I'm dressed like this because I just did a medieval live stream earlier, and I didn't feel like clothes for the third time today. But yeah, we're enjoying this gorgeous spring day here. It is just lovely to be alive right now and be in Korea. Springtime is the right time. Spring and autumn are the two best seasons for traveling to Korea. Better for those who like a little bit more chill. Spring is for those who prefer more warmth, but it's very pleasant either way. And as you can see, it is azalea season. The azaleas are in full bloom. We're past cherry blossom season, unfortunately. So Koreans like to picnic, and they come with tents and set up in places like parks and just spend the day there. They don't live here, they're not homeless, they're just enjoying, a day outside. There's live entertainment all over Korea on days like this. Different kinds, different calibers. So yeah, people of course don't generally have yards or gardens here. They live in apartments. So on days like this, basically the parks become their yard, their garden, and everyone just shares and enjoys it. So yeah, these people probably arrived after breakfast time, set up, and have just been here enjoying picnicking together, playing games, relaxing, reading. A lot of people on their phones, of course, because, that's the world in which we live. And if you specifically enjoy walking videos, I've started a new channel, Walking with the Contessa, which is going to be all walking all the time. So check that out if you're interested in specifically going on long walks through scenic places. This is my more general travel channel, so I've got travel vlogs and flight reviews and hotel reviews, restaurant stuff, tips for sites to see, that kind of thing. Shall we go up? We'll make a loop of it. The question is, do we want to go up here? For the viewers, do you want us to go up now and cross on the pedestrian bridge to go to the other side, or keep on this side and come back the other side of the river? Poll.
There's nobody there right now.
There's no one there, okay. Ah, well.
They come and they go.
They come and they go. That's fine.
Maybe we just walk in this direction till we
get to the other bridge. What? No. Azaleas. And over here to our left, you can probably hear that sound. Oh, okay, why don't you walk on the flat part?
I thought I was.
Excuse me. So over here to the left, this noraebang, the karaoke station, it is here no matter what day of the week I come here during the day. They always have this karaoke station set up, and people basically pay to do a song on the karaoke station. Koreans love their noraebang. I guess this is nore hall. I don't know. It's outdoors, so it's neither a room nor a hall because it's outdoors. So
I said Nore Garden.
Nore Garden. Nore Kongwon, Nore Singing Park. Welcome. We are walking in Daegu. Just enjoying the weather.
And this
are naughty birds, or not birds. I have seen so high little, which is funny. The Korean folk always talk about them tormenting cats. Tigers, usually, actually. Nope, these modern magpies prefer to torment annoying little dogs, and they do it.
and with glee.
And with glee, certain. There's, that I might be anthropomorphizing or not.
Called Kachi here in Korea.
Yeah.
Oriental magpies by the Cornell University ornithology department.
In the autumn, this walk is also, of course, super stunning because a lot of these trees turn rainbow colors, not just yellow or red. A lot of them turn all of those colors at once, specifically the maples, which we call Japanese maples in English, but the Koreans call rainbow trees because that's what they look like in the autumn.
And then they got the ginkgos that turn bright gold.
Yeah, the ginkgos turn this stunning shade of yellow. Let's walk in under the arbor of the tree over there.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. So a lot of people, when they come to Korea, of course, they go to Seoul and usually don't make it past Seoul. So we're in Daegu, which is in the south of the country and is also known as the hot box of Korea, which makes summers here extra brutal. But it also means winters aren't really bad. It just doesn't get terribly cold here.
Right. Come on, Facebook. Push it. For YouTube.
Yeah.
We got a viewer again.
Welcome to Daegu, dear viewer. We're in the southern part of Korea. We have gone beyond Seoul because, as I often tell people, there is so much more to Korea than one major metropolitan area. Okay, let me get a little ahead. It's okay. So I usually recommend that people do see some parts of Seoul, and I actually have a bunch of videos about traveling in Seoul, including a full palace tour, royal palace tour. But there's so much better. So much better is very judgmental. There's so much more to see. Gyeongju is another place I highly recommend. It's one of the historic capital of the unified Shilla dynasty. Busan is, of course, beautiful and completely different from Seoul in the way it feels, the sort of sights it has. Jeonju is one that Westerners often don't get to. That is the home of the Yi clan, the founders of the Joseon dynasty, and still has, actually, it's one of the few places in Korea that still had traditional Korean village left after the war, a Hanok village as it's called. Unfortunately, it's now basically a tourist trap. It's still worth seeing, but nearly all of the Hanok are no longer just lived in. They've all been turned into, bed and breakfasts or rental properties full out. So it's definitely lost its feeling of authenticity, but it's still beautiful and worth seeing. Of course, the train can take you to all of these places. I have a video on how to book KoRail tickets. KoRail is the Korean rail company, of course. But I will tell you that if you are traveling on the weekend, you will want to book those tickets at least a week in advance because they sell out super fast. Everyone, most people take the train if they can, going from south to north or north to south because it's faster and actually not necessarily much more expensive than driving. Especially if you're traveling alone, it's cheaper than driving for certain. So always book those tickets in advance. And up here on the left, we have this beautiful garden. Let's go walk in the garden. Korea has done a lot to landscape everything. So they've built these lovely gardens in gardens, basically, within parks within parks, with beautiful traditional style landscaping, pagodas like the one up here. And I definitely recommend making sure that you're in some decent level of physical conditioning before traveling to Korea. I mean, many of the sites are accessible and the train stations have elevators and escalators and all of that. But really, the most beautiful things to see are enjoyed best by foot or from bicycle, because that's how the spaces are set up. So you want to sort of be in decent shape for that.
I think we have to go down here to stay on the river.
And historically, this used to be well beyond the city walls. So this was a place where people came often to pray, make offerings to various animist deities.
We're not on the walk.
Yeah, we're not, that's true.
Pretty flowers. You see those purple flowers back there?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the waterfall's not on.
Yeah, again, I told you, this waterfall is never on. I don't know if it actually, which I know that sounds like we didn't have. There's a stair set right here.
Huh?
There's a stairs right there.
Oh, you're right. We're going to come down right there.
Anyway, this over here to the left, we have what should be a waterfall, but I have actually never seen that water flowing. I'm not certain if they're waiting to May to turn it on, just to make certain there's no freezing that could cause pipe bursting.
We have a viewer.
Welcome, dear viewer. You are in Daegu, South Korea. And it is a beautiful spring day, walking along Tongcheon, the East River. Yep, nope. It would have been nice if the water had been actually flowing, but it's not.
Come on, let me go.
Yeah. Ooh, let's go walk in the arbor.
Gets us out of the sun, too.
It does. It is. So many people ask about food in Korea, and of course, Korean food is delicious, and no, not all of it is spicy. In fact, before the Korean War, most Korean food wasn't actually spicy. Spice was used, the gochu, the red pepper, was only used really in preservation of food, so kimchi, making gochujang, but apparently the upper class Koreans did not eat gochu in their food. The nobility didn't, the didn't. And gochu didn't even reach Korea until the 18th century, interestingly. So if you can imagine Korean cuisine without red pepper, that's what it was before the Dutch, well, basically came to Korea through Japan, as far as I understand. Through traders that way, and China, because it isn't native. So if you don't like spicy food, there are options. Bibimbap, for instance, rice with a rainbow of vegetables and sometimes meat and egg, is not naturally spicy. You have to add spice to it, the sauce. And jokbal, which is this braised sort of thigh, pork thigh, pig thigh, and foot until it's like meltingly tender, is not spicy. Samgyetang, which is a whole stuffed chicken stuffed with rice and other yummy things, and then stewed together until the chicken is meltingly falling apart. It's also not spicy. So there's plenty of non-spicy options. But if you like spicy, then the dish for you is dakgalbi, which is stir-fried chicken and cabbage and Korean sweet potatoes, perilla leaves, green onion, and these chewy rice cakes called tok, and then in this sweet and spicy, savory red sauce. And then that's all fried together until the flavors meld and this Maillard reaction creates this delicious browning. So that's dakgalbi. Definitely recommend that. You're unlikely to find dakgalbi in the United States. unless I'm cooking it. Yeah, it's not something they serve at Korean restaurants outside of Korea generally. And in Korea, if the only restaurants that serve 닭갈비, literally that's all they serve is there's no other thing. It's just a 닭갈비 restaurant. Yeah, these are all cherry trees. One of my friends lives near here, and during cherry blossom season, which ended about 3 weeks ago, she said she came out every morning for a morning walk around here and enjoyed the beautiful cherry blossoms, which in Korea, they're more of a pale pink. They're a much more delicate color. They're not like Japanese cherry blossoms, which are very assertive, shall we say. Now, for assertive in Korea, we have azaleas. Of course, right now, apparently there aren't lots of azaleas planted along this river. There are more azaleas along the river near where we sometimes stay when we're here in the city.
Hello, viewer.
Welcome, dear viewer. If you have any questions about traveling in Korea, just let me know. Otherwise, I'm just holding forth with the usual frequent questions. We're taking a walk while we have this Q&A for visual interest. So if you have any questions about anything you see, just let me know.
Or about anything in Korea.
Or about anything in Korea, for that matter.
Stay on for like 20 seconds.
Yeah.
It knocked the tails off the top of your head the last time your hat came off.
Oh, well. So Korea is also a fantastic place for people who like to hike. There are literally mountains everywhere. And of course I say that, and we can't see any specifically here by the river because the buildings are blocking them.
Right over there, kind of.
Right, we're down by the river, so the buildings are blocking them. But Daegu basically sits in a valley surrounded by mountains, which makes it a natural fortress and really helped preserve it pretty significantly during the Korean War. So there wasn't as much destruction here as there was everywhere else in the peninsula. And historically, it's always protected Daegu in that way. So
Another viewer.
If you like hiking, Korea is the place to go. It really is. You might as well give it a few minutes before, or a minute before, to see if they stay out, stay on.
I want to catch them as soon as they get on. Like, hello.
So yeah, if hiking is your thing, come to Korea. There's plenty of it, but be forewarned, the paths here go straight up. They don't believe in switchbacks. Why waste your time on switchbacks if you can just pant your way up to the top of the mountain in a most direct fashion imaginable? There are even often stairs that will go to the top of a mountain. So what's interesting though is in Korea, mountain climbing or hiking doesn't seem to be very popular with the younger generations. It's generally retirees and some rather unexpectedly elderly people doing the hiking, which I think is a shame that the young people are missing out on all of the amazing natural beauty that Korea has. We should cross this one. Crane? That we determined that was a crane or not?
Crane.
Or
That's a heron.
Oh yeah, and that's a very friendly heron.
Yeah. You know, if we stay on here and just keep walking, we can just walk home.
No.
Yeah, we get up here and we turn left.
Oh. Well, I mean, it'll be like 3 hours later that we get home. Yeah, beautiful water birds. Hello, beautiful bird. Would you like to say hello? Beautiful crane or heron? Maybe heron. I think we determined actually this is probably a heron.
Gray heron.
Yeah, gray heron. Now there's a reason that cranes and herons feature prominently in Asian and Korean art. Do we want to go and cross over the pedestrian bridge here?
It's up to you.
Okay, yeah, let's do it. Oh.
How do we get up?
Stairs. Yep. It's the same way you get anywhere when you're going up. You take.
We've had to deal with it for a couple of moments now. As soon as I said it, okay?
Okay, up we go, up to the pedestrian bridge. Korea is very good about building lots of pedestrian facilities and fashion. So this is what an older neighborhood looks like in Korea, and by older I mean after the Korean War, before redevelopment. These are not single family homes, these are usually 2 to 3 family homes that you see. But they are decreasingly in existence as they're snapped up and the entire block is developed into massive apartment complexes. Oh yeah. Oh, yeah, but there's lots of people in it. But one thing about traveling Korea that we really love, in public spaces like parks, there are bathrooms everywhere. So that's a set of bathrooms over there. They are clean, they are free, they have toilet paper. Outside of Seoul, they almost always do. But that being said, we do recommend that you keep a little thing of toilet paper in your bag just in case. In Seoul, in the train station, sometimes we've run into a lack of toilet paper, which could possibly be because the toilet paper is actually in the older bathrooms kept at the entrance to the bathroom. So you take your toilet paper when you go in, not in the stall.
Yeah, I think this has some kind of display in the middle here.
Yeah, I think so. I've never been on this bridge, so dear viewer, you are coming with me for the first time on this particular pedestrian bridge.
Last time I walked by it was closed.
We shall see what is inside the structure. Also, people are decreasingly having babies and instead getting dogs, and they treat them like babies here. So you'll see a lot of prams that don't have human babies in them. They have fur babies. So all of those trees on both sides of the river are cherry trees, or 90% of them are. Yeah. Welcome, dear viewer. We are just taking a walk in Daegu while I answer questions about traveling in Korea. Now, of course, most people fly into Incheon if they're coming internationally, but Busan is an alternate airport, and if you're looking for flights to Korea, I recommend that you check out Busan as well. Sometimes it is actually less expensive to fly into Busan. And Busan Airport is not quite as easily accessible as Incheon is by rail, but the buses in Korea are very inexpensive, run frequently, and go directly to lots of places express nonstop. So Busan is beautiful. It really is. Okay, well, here we go. Interesting. Some kind of motion hall? I don't know, some kind of experience maybe?
Not too much motion there. This is a bridge.
Oh, it's some kind of experience. Oh, maybe this is a plan for development? Well, let's go, there's a diorama here. 안녕하세요. Oh, it looks, new K2. Oh, K2. Maybe they're planning to this is maybe an airport redevelopment plan, I guess. They're probably planning to completely redevelop this side of the river to make it more accessible and everything. I mean, maybe it's a little optimistic to think there'll be that many helicopters flying around, but interesting. Yeah, so like I said, Korea is redeveloping, and you're seeing the future of the other side of the river here, I guess. Massive parks, beautiful buildings. Now, for that, they're going to be probably tearing down vast neighborhoods.
Judging by all the lights, they expect a lot of car traffic.
Or they're trying. I think they're trying to show where the roads will be. Yeah. Whereas right now there's buildings there, so those people might have some feelings about that. Interesting. Okay. I wonder what the timeline on this is. Interesting. Huh. Well, now we know what this is. It's the redevelopment of the other side of the river. It was supposed to have started in August. I guess that's when this was open, is August 2024.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Future new growth city. Right. Okay. Well, we'll see how that all comes to pass. So basically, they're talking about redeveloping this whole area over here, which I'm not certain how the people who live here now feel about that. It usually takes a decade to buy up a block because you have to wait usually for people to die off. But as you see, mountains abound here.
Looks very flat. Trust me.
It looks very, yeah. The weird things cameras do. That building looks like it should be some kind of cafe, but seems not to be anything right now. Right? Yeah, looks like it should be a Starbucks, you're right. Missed opportunity because that's quite a view.
Probably what they found when they built it first. You can't show this as well.
Apartment. These are apartments. Honors is an apartment chain, yeah. But as I was saying, we crossed the bridge. So, yeah, you really don't have to worry about public restrooms. Please look back to of the river. See where we just came from. Yeah, not in it, and you can see the cranes. Well, maybe you can't see the cranes in the distance, but that's definitely a sign of the redevelopment. Yeah. Well, let's go down. Die. So as I was saying, if you fly into Korea, check out fares for Busan and compare them against fares to Seoul Incheon. You know, there's nothing wrong with starting your trip in Busan instead of starting it in Seoul. Actually, take this down for under here. Padding to keep for people who've beamed their heads. And these are all cherry trees. So just use your imagination to turn these leaves into this gorgeous shade of light pink. And that is what it is like here on this river in cherry blossom season. Pretty magical. Unfortunately, on the weekend, that probably means you'd be chock-a-block humans, butt to chest, walking on this path.
You wouldn't have to walk very fast, at least.
No, you couldn't walk very fast, at least.
Hello, viewer. Questions?
Well, welcome, dear viewer. If you have any questions about Korea, traveling in Korea, living in Korea, getting to and from Korea, just let me know. We are now walking along Tongcheon East River in Daegu. Then, of course, once you get into Korea, you have choices to get from the airport to where you're going. At Incheon, there is an express train that connects Incheon to Seoul Station, from whence you can pretty much go most places in most major cities in Korea. They're still expanding the East Coast train rail network. I think that'll be done in a couple of years, and then there'll be a train that actually goes all the way up the East Coast from Busan up to Pyeongchang, the Olympic Village up there. High-speed rail. And so there's also buses, though. So depending on the city you're going to, it might be better to just get on a bus. Not if you're going into Seoul. It is not better to take a bus from Seoul to the airport. We've done it. It's much better to take the express train, depending on where you are in Seoul. It will be faster and you will get less carsick. Like, you won't get carsick at all if you take the train.
Question, this is, are we going back to the train now, or do you want to keep walking on the river?
What do you want?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Hello, viewer.
It's a lovely day. We should keep going. So yeah,
Especially if you ask questions, we'll keep going.
yeah, we will absolutely keep walking as long as people have questions. Trains cost, the buses cost to go basically to the southern end of Korea from Incheon. The bus costs about 48,000 won, depending on what your currency is. That's there's any about $35. Pretty inexpensive, and they're nice buses. Very nice. Korea is very clean. It's very well developed. It's very safe. I cannot emphasize the safe factor. So this parasol that you're seeing in front of you, we actually purchased in Chiang Mai in Thailand. From the parasol, this is not a Korean ball. In fact, all of my Korean friends ask me where they can buy one. I tell them you have to go to Thailand. Let's see, other travel tips for Korea, other frequently asked questions. Oh, where to stay. So, Korea basically has all sorts of options on lodgings, from hostels and budget hotels through, of course, to five-star chain hotels, both Korean chains and more international chains. But also, more in the last couple of years, there's an increasing prevalence of what are called hanok stays. Hanok are the traditional Korean architecture. Hanok means literally Korean building. And these are the beautiful homes style of architecture that you see in those period K-dramas. And they've been rebuilding hanok all over Korea for rent, to be bed and breakfast, rental properties where you can rent the whole thing to yourself. So you can now actually get a traditional Korean sleeping experience, sleeping on the floor, on a Korean futon called a boryo. So those that I actually recommend isn't for that's not 3 padding, but I recommend it. Hanok have a downside. They are not soundproofed the way modern architecture is. So you will probably be able to hear what your neighbors, let's go up into the trees, probably and when they're staying in a hanok, so there will not be an untoward amount of noise. But especially hanok tend to be out in the country, so you'll get the quiet peace of the Korean countryside. Yeah, the quiet peace of million frogs and affiliated in the summer. Even like Seoul, which still have a historic center, namely the Royal Palace. The historic before the Korean War, before the Japanese occupation, actually. So you can stay there and really get the full historic experience. Walk on this side. Yeah. So highly recommend doing that instead of a Western hotel. You can stay in a Western style hotel pretty much anywhere in the world. You can stay in a hanok. Hanok actually tend to be really budget friendly, much more budget friendly, certainly much more than a 5-star hotel. And they are almost always managed and run by the person who owns it, who also lives there. So you can actually, get some really personalized treatment. And they do treat you generally like you are a guest in their home rather than just some random person, who's rented a room.
My exercise partner is like, are we going to exercise today?
Yeah. Also, bicycles. You may have noticed a whole lot of people on bicycles. plenty of biking paths here in Korea. You can absolutely rent bikes in all of the tourist places. You can find bike rentals. You can't find them necessarily so easily in untouristy places. Daegu is not a tourist city. It really isn't. There's a little bit of domestic tourism here, but otherwise it's completely unknown to the outside world. And I think we'll try to do some walking tours of what's called downtown, the historic part, and show you what kind of things there are there as well. There they've also been rebuilding the historic structures. They've rebuilt the Joseon era governor's palace and the park that surrounds it. There's some interesting things there. Yeah, I doubt they can see that pavilion on the other side of the hill, huh?
I mean, you can kind of see it.
Yeah, so that pavilion up on the hill there is date has been a pavilion there. Wow, I didn't expect to hear Metallica's Nothing Else Matters blasted from someone's bike as they ride by. Okay, I mean, I do like Metallica. Nothing Else Matters is a great song. It was just kind of unexpected. Anyway, that pavilion over there, that one is not original, but there has been a pavilion there for centuries because, as I said, people used to go out to the outside of the cities in order to engage in rituals, worship, sort of animistic deity worship, or in the case of Buddhists, to actually go and try and commune with nature and come one step closer to nirvana, as it were.
There's a road.
Yeah, that's what all those cars parked down there are. I expect this area will be redeveloped pretty shortly too, to tell the cars to go elsewhere. Korea is experiencing the issue of affluence, which sounds ridiculous, but hear me out. Now, everyone can afford to have a car, which means everyone wants to have a car, which means, oh, Handsome, we can go up here. Walk in the tree grove. Everyone wants to have a car, which means everyone wants to drive their car everywhere, even though there isn't room to drive cars everywhere, there isn't room to park cars everywhere, and even though public transit is cheaper and faster, actually, than driving. Am I not right, Handsome?
No, you're right.
In fact, there's another grove of cherry trees here. Yeah. We are heading on Wednesday to Biseulsan, Mount Biseul, which is capped by this amazing meadow of azaleas. Massive meadow, very flat, unusual in Korea. They don't usually have mountain meadows. This isn't Switzerland. So we're going there. And it will for us to take the bus and the subway and a taxi at the very end as it takes to drive there, because I drove there with friends earlier this week. Traffic in Daegu took us forever. And I looked at how long it would take by public transit, and it was the same time, if not less. So here you can actually see Korean homes. All people live here in outside of the big cities. Did you show them the homes? Okay. And then these are more modern apartments, which have been built in the last probably 10 years by the look of it. Like I said, is under redevelopment.
Feel free to ask questions.
Yeah, welcome everyone. Feel free to ask questions as you like. I will happily answer them. Even if it's about travel beyond Korea, I am a pretty far traveled individual, all methods of transport, and have pretty good experience to share. Note, if you are a breakfast eater in restaurants, Korea is not the country. There are very few breakfast restaurants. Increasingly, though, in more metropolitan areas, there are brunch restaurants that do open usually by 9 or 10. So if you're an early morning breakfast person, then you might want to buy some snack food to get you through until that point. At the bed and breakfasts, like the Hanok B&Bs, for instance, often those come with breakfast, and sometimes it's a really good Korean breakfast with like abalone porridge and bantan, maybe bibimbap. pretty decent, and that is usually included, and usually that's served at 7:30 or 8. But you can't actually, it's very hard to actually find a Korean restaurant that serves that kind of food at what is for us breakfast time. Most people eat at home. But there is an increasing prevalence of Western style, they call them brunch cafes. And I will tell you that as with most things, Koreans do brunch cafes really well, don't they?
They do.
They do.
Indeed.
They really do. Kati.
Nope.
No. What am I looking at? The foot bath? No.
Nope.
Oh, kitty. Kitty.
It's that
They,
dot on
they,
their
they,
screen.
they probably can't see the kitty.
It's a dot. They
It's
can
a
see
dot.
the
They can see the dot moving.
They can see the dot walking now.
Yeah. So if you like a Western style brunch, omelets, eggs, waffles, pancakes, that sort of thing, it is so much easier to get now than it was 10 years ago, and they're pretty damned good, we have to say. Our favorite brunch cafe in Gyeongju is Nerd, N-E-R-D, just that very strange English word. And here in Daegu, there is this place called Avocado, that is very good, even though I haven't eaten there yet. Also, the Interburgo Hotel has a pretty decent, it's like pseudo-Western style brunch. You'll understand what I mean if you check it out. In Seoul, in Bukchon, our brunch place there is actually literally called the American Brunch Cafe, AB. I found that on, you want to check. Okay.
Now we're down to the voice of my phone, which means you'll hear me breathing a lot.
Okay, yeah. Apparently we've been streaming long enough that my microphone has died.
Yeah, almost an hour.
That's okay. We're now in this beautiful grove.
Again.
Which is no, we weren't in this grove before. We were over there before.
Okay, true.
Different grove.
Hello, viewer. If you have any questions, go ahead and type them in. Happy to answer them. Or you can leave.
Okay, well, am I maybe not straight into the sun?
Yeah.
Okay, everyone. Because otherwise you
You're
won't hear
good.
me. Okay, well, everyone, thank you for joining me. If you're watching this as a recording and you have questions, pop them in the chat and I will answer them, I promise. Otherwise, if you enjoy going on walks, check out my Walking with the Contessa channel. I'm going to be migrating walking content over to that channel as that channel grows. Otherwise, until next time, guys, may your travels be creative and unexpected. Bye, everyone.